Hey, how are we doing? It is episode 67 of Franco's World. Thank you for stopping by. Today's episode, the highly anticipated appearance, the great comedian. I'm very excited to talk to him today. Yep, big intro right here from my guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dan Carney. Dan, how you doing, brother?
What's up, everybody? What's up, Frank? How you doing? I didn't know this was highly anticipated. If it was, I would have prepared a little bit more for this. But I guess the 3 people that follow me on Instagram are here and they're ready to party. So thank you guys for listening and tuning in. And thank you, Frank, for having me.
Of course, man. And you have your 3 followers, and then I have my 2 cousins that'll listen to the show, so that'll be great. We'll do all right this episode. I'm excited.
I mean, all we need is 5 people to tear down a country. So we could start throwing Molotov cocktails into the streets and really make something happen.
I think that's how the Republic of Ireland got started. I think that was the Irish. I think that's what they did. It was just 5 people and Molotov cocktails.
And I am Irish, so I will say this: no one in my family has that sort of ambition. I'm not sure if I do either. But then again, no one in my family is really willing to get off the couch and put down the bottle of wine. So
you do have ambition. He's got ambition, folks. He's got ambition. He's out on the road. He's doing gigs. He's crushing it. I'm excited.
I have a drug and alcohol addiction.
Yep, and I have a gambling addiction. So this is rehab now. This is our therapy session. We're getting it out between each other.
I'm excited. I'm excited to figure it out finally for once in my life. Hopefully you can provide some answers. If not, this podcast will be canceled.
No, you're getting canceled first, guy.
I mean, it looks like everybody's going to get canceled. So, I mean, we're on what, episode 67 now? It was a pretty good run for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to pay dividends. I'm starting to get free stuff. I'm starting to get ads. But as far as the cancel thing goes, I want to know where you stand on this. You're obviously at a much higher echelon of comedy than I am. I'm very curious to see what your take on the whole cancel thing is.
I mean, I don't even have a take. I mean, people cancel, people they don't cancel. Cancel culture, it's beaten by a dead horse. I'm just waiting. It's beaten like a dead horse. I just want to wait until November 4th, see what happens, see if Donald T gets in office again. I mean, if Donald Trump is elected again, then there's going to be riots in the streets. We know that. But if he's elected again, what's going to happen is I think some of these travel bans are not going to be lifted. But if he loses, I think that we'll stop hearing about coronavirus. We'll stop hearing about a lot of the shit that's been going on in the news. People start flying around again, and we'll put down the box of tissues and ready to get back to work in this economy. So we'll see what the fuck goes on. But November 4th, if Biden wins, then he will be, or November 3rd, then he will be dead by November 4th, and Kamala Harris will be our president. That is the plan that is going to happen. If she loses, if President Kamala is not in office, then God help us that she is the new mayor of New York City, and we get that cuck de Blasio out of office, because he's done enough. His time is coming past. I know he has another 14 months, but God help us, we need to get him out of there.
Get him out of the office. The thing is, if you subscribe to the Republican meme pages on Facebook, Dan is subscribing what's going to happen in this country to a T. I mean, Kamala's going to take over the country, and then you're all going to get put in vans, and you're all going to be put in prison camps. It's what's going to happen.
And by the way, I want that to happen. This isn't me complaining and say, "Oh God, she's going to be president." This is what I want to. It's just what's going to happen, and it's really not up to me. It's not up to you. It's not up to any of our listeners out there. But if Biden wins, he will die on the next day, and then it would be President Kamala Harris taking office. And that's what I want to happen. It's not even me complaining. I think we need to go back to being distracted and be behind bars again. So I'm really excited to see if that goes down.
I miss so much a puppet president that's just controlled by the banks, and I'm just blind to everything. And I just go about my day. I miss that.
I miss it too, and you know what? Here's the thing: America misses it too, whether they can like it or whether they can admit it or not. I mean, it's so funny. My dad is an Army veteran. Thank you for his service, and he retired after like 30 years in the service. He was a fucking colonel and all that shit. And I called him the other day. I was like, hey man, because I don't know if you saw that article in the Atlantic where it's just disparaging Trump, saying that he's said some nasty things about the troops, calling them suckers and losers for dying in a war, which, by the way, are things that it's very, plausible for him to say and believe. I mean, the man is a billionaire, who travels on planes to islands with, other Democratic politicians to get massages from, people that work at Panera Bread. So it's really just like, what do you think he doesn't care about these people? But I called my dad because he's an Army veteran. I was like, what do you think about the things that are said or in this article that Donald Trump said about the troops, how he doesn't like them, he doesn't respect them. And my dad he essentially was like, look, man, it's fake news. He was like, I don't believe that stuff. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, let's change the topic. And then I hang up the phone. I'm like, look, this guy is never not going to believe that Donald Trump is his biggest fan. And there's a lot of people in the country that believe that as well. So I just think that whether you like the man or not, it's just bad for the temperament of the country and the climate and, my relationship with my parents. So we need to get him out of there.
We need to get Donnie America out of there. I mean, my dad's a military guy too. Thank you for your service. Not nearly as high of a rank as your father. He was an Air Force guy. And
of course not. Of course not.
And he's now watching One American News, which is a great program. I think everyone should watch One American News. It's the only true news station that will definitely keep you informed. And one thing I also miss? I miss the threat
you
level.
Plug in, it's like QAnon.
Everyone should go watch One American News. It's the only news channel that Donald Trump likes answering questions from.
Interesting. So what were we saying after that?
I was going to go back to the whole presidential thing. No, don't worry about it. I mean, we have audio issues. Don't worry about it.
You're on top of it. You've done 167 of these episodes, so.
Yep. The only thing I miss is President Bush. We need the color levels. We need threat indigo. That's what we need to do to distract the country. Okay, we don't have orange threat. We don't have red threat. We need that. Look,
Kamala Harris is going to be president if Biden wins. I mean, that's the plan. There's no way anybody should expect Biden to stay healthy or alive for more than a week after he's elected president. That it's going to be Kamala. And I think we need to go back to that. I mean, look, like you said about the indigo levels or whatever, orange level, threat level, midnight, whatever it is. Yep. I mean, we've had an orange level threat for the last 4 years. And really, it's his name is Donald Trump. I mean, look, like, this isn't me saying, oh, his policies suck, this, and that, because his supporters will say, look, like, I follow his policy, I don't follow his Twitter, but they also follow his Twitter. So it's a little hypocritical. But with that being said, it's just bad for the energy of the country. Look, like, you could say that, if Kamala goes in, she's going to arrest people and Biden's coming in, he's going to be a socialist, whatever. The president doesn't get anything done. It's big money gets things done. These people, all that really matters, all that matters is what they tweet. That is really it. I'm sure that there's a few things that they have influence in, but really, I've said this to some of my friends. I've said this to some other people as well. Donald Trump is probably the most influential president we've ever had because of the information age. I mean, we could only guess how Nixon would be viewed if there was a Twitter back in his age, or any of these presidents for that matter, or Reagan, whoever it is. But Donald Trump could tweet something and then it's reflected in real life. If Donald tweeted, gun down Antifa, there would be people shooting in the streets, within seconds. So look, like, it's not about really, the bills that he's signing, even though that's very important. It's about what his fingers are fucking doing on that blue app. So that is what we really need to get some help with. And look, a lot of people have built their careers off of commenting and critiquing and picketing against Trump. A lot of people in comedy, now you go to people's comedy pages on Twitter and Instagram, it says comedian/activist. I mean, I literally saw, I forget what publication printed it, and I'm not going to try to guess and disparage or slander one, but they were promoting someone special, and it was a comedian who has a little bit of notoriety, not a ton, he's not really respected, but it was like comedian activist puts out special on blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, this is not good. This is not good when comedians or specials are promoted as comedians and activists. It's over. You're exactly right when it's a comedian and activist. So we need to go back to just being comedy. But go ahead, be the activist for Biden. That's lame. It's hack. It's going with the flow. There's a lot of people that have built their careers off of going against Trump. It's not me. It's not you. I'm not with or against. I'm not saying whatever. But it's just, look, enough is enough. I'm over it. I'm annoyed. And when he does go away, I think there's going to be real change in America's day to day, and also what pop culture looks like.
Mm-hmm. I tend to agree with you there. He's changed the game entirely. I mean, the whole presidential game is completely flipped on its head. Maybe for the good, maybe for the better. Maybe we get more parties out of this. I don't know. I'm just a guy.
Yeah,
but
that's a great point.
Going back to the comedy the comedy conversation. I mean, these people are out here. I don't want to name any names, but whenever your whole act is like just saying what he says and just trying to be funny off that, just be like, "Can you believe he said that?" And like that's
And it's like,
that's
yes,
the whole stick. Are you? Is that real? Like, I'm lost.
It's just, I mean, it's like, hey, look, if he loses, then good luck. Good luck. It is what it is. But yeah, the whole activist thing, it's like you're not an activist. Like a lot of these people that they're saying they're activists were making these crazy, edgy jokes, 5-6 years ago when Obama was in office, and now that he's not, they're like, okay, well, how am I going to adapt? And a lot of great successful people, they think of how they're going to innovate, and for some people, the innovation turned into activism, which could be annoying. I'm not saying that it doesn't have a place in the world. It obviously does, but it's just not comedy. It's not even me like critiquing their comedy. It's just being objective. It's like, look, it's just not. You know what I mean? It's just not what it is.
Yeah, and I love I love jokes just as much as the next guy. Okay, but after I'd say this is before Trump got elected, so take me back to maybe. Let's just go to October 2016. All right. Trump hasn't been elected yet. The world still thinks he's going to lose, so he's the butt of every joke. And, Fallon is out there doing shots and saying, like, look, he's orange. Isn't that funny? And then it just never stopped. And I got tired of those jokes. November. I got tired of those jokes the day he got elected. Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I was kind of at the same boat. I mean, it's so funny that like people are gonna listen to this episode and think I'm like Ben Shapiro. I mean, just it's not even really like that. It's just there's no nuance anymore. Like you say one thing, you think people like you critique one side, they think you're on the other side. You say something positive about that side, they think you're on it. I mean, it's just like, can we have like a nuanced argument here? But look, like look at the quarantine, look at the pandemic, look what happened with a lot of these people who stopped putting out comedy videos or sketches or whatever it is that they started in OnlyFans or they started like an activist page. And it's like, look, like if you want to be an activist, go ahead. Like the world does need those people, but it's like you can't be comedian and activist. Okay, you could be it's just not what it is.
No,
okay, that's
because
not how
comedians
it is. But a lot of people.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I was just going to finish my part about like comedians turn into like porn stars and activists. So it's just annoying.
Well, comedians were made to puncture holes in situations to kind of like deflate them and show like, look how dumb you look for believing in that, and also believing in this. And you can't go both feet into one side and just solely like throw darts at the other side. That's just not how it works.
Why? I want to put this out there. If someone can tell me with 100% truth and objectivity that I will get paid at least $2,500 to sell pictures of my feet on the internet, I will quit comedy today, and I will do that. So I'm not saying I'm above that. All right. If the market is there for my feet, yeah. If the market is there for my feet to be on the internet and for me to make money off that, then I will 100% go full on with that. I will run towards it. I will change my Twitter bio. I don't really give a fuck. All right. But you can't have both. I'm not going to still pretend I am something that I'm not.
Hey, you have a subscriber in me. You know where that first check is coming from. It's coming from me. Okay.
I
believe
that,
in
man.
you.
If you can, wrangle up a few more listeners and get some real ad money in here and then start buying pictures of my feet, I think we could really be in business. I'll write your Twitter handle, something on my feet on the bottom of it. I'll sell it online, and we could start an empire. But look, like, I mean, I don't know if people find my feet attractive. I objectively, I think they're disgusting. But there's a market for that. So, and also, it's like you can't say my feet are disgusting because then it hurts my feelings, and now you're a bad person. So, it just what it is.
And now I'm canceled because we were talking about the feet. But activism as a whole right now, it's very popular. It's very trendy to be an activist. It's very easy. It's very easy to put in your bio this and that. I 100%. Believe this. I believe that. I think the generation below us, Gen Z, I mean, if we're in Gen Z, okay, whatever. The people below us, I think they're even more radicalized about it because like that's all they see on the internet all day is that and they think like, this is what I have to be.
And I don't blame them at all. Like, you can't blame them because, look, if you're a 20, 21-year-old and you're still in college and you're like, well, fuck you. The economy just crashed while I'm in college. I have a good major. Now, like, when the economy is, like, before the economy is booming, I was like, okay, I just go to college. I fuck around for 4 years and I get a job. That's exactly what I did. So I don't blame those people. But when you're in that position and now it's like, okay, now I feel a lot more disenfranchised because, one, not only the job prospects, they look pretty bad. The people that have contributed to the downfall of the economy are, some of the politicians that are in office. And also, like, I'm renting a property maybe on campus. I'm living in a dorm or I live at my parents' house. I don't own any land. I don't have a job. I don't really have anything. I can't even legally drink. So what the fuck else am I going to do with my time other than go out on the streets and start, and start marching, which, and I don't want to, disparage all those people because, like I said, I get it. And a lot of that is for a good reason. But it's just, you have all these disenfranchised folks who really don't know what the fuck else to do. And if I was 20 years old, if I was 19 years old, I was in college, I'd probably be selling pictures of my feet and getting out there in the streets. So I fucking do not blame those people. But that's why I said, we need to go back to being distracted. We need to be going back to doing that shit. And we need to be going, honestly, like, back to work, like the COVID thing. Like, look, nobody's really taking this thing seriously. I know it's like been all over the news, but nobody's really giving a fuck. If we're going to commit, we should have committed, months ago. Now this whole, 1 foot, not to keep talking about feet, but 1 foot in the door, one out the other, approach to it is just not really the right scenario. We need to go back to work because, in New York, there's all these people that are leaving the city, and then on top of that, people are losing their jobs, and then there's people who are going to work every day as a server or waitress or bartender, whatever it may be, and they're not making any fucking money because they don't make even minimum wage. They make all their money off tips, and nobody has the money to tip. Nobody's going in to tip. Nobody can get the goddamn tip right now. And that's what we need is a little bit extra on the top.
Just the tip. All we need is
just the tip.
And I tell you what, we can get this country back to work with just the tip and your feet. I think we can do it. Anyways.
Yeah. Vote for me for president.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'll vote for you. But
Thank you.
So going back to the activism thing.
I'll pardon you for your sins.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'm uncanceled now. And honestly, I think being canceled is almost like a state of mind.
if you're running with me, then it's all done. You better hope that this works.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. But going to what I said about the canceling, it's a state of mind. I feel like there's certain people that let it affect them and think like, oh no, I've been canceled. That's it. And other people are like, shut up. It's words on the internet. Shut up.
Yeah.
I think that's.
It really just depends on who your fans are. And also what you did too. Cause like certain people, you can't do some of the things that some of these people have done. But like, I mean, it's just interesting to like, and I the cancel culture thing. It's been, like I said, it's been beaten like a dead horse.
Yep. Yeah.
But with that being said, I do think one thing that's been interesting, or one thing interesting about the Ellen thing that not a lot of people have really talked about is she didn't do anything that a lot of people's bosses don't already do. You know what I mean?
She just got boss, and they like
she got so famous. She got so famous that she's got quote unquote canceled for being a bitch. Which, like, most people's bosses are assholes or bitches or dicks.
I will say this, Dan. It does not help though that her whole message was be kind to everyone.
100%. I mean, you go to her Twitter profile, it's so funny. Her profile picture is like, be kind to everybody. It's like, who? Your coworkers?
Honestly.
Or your boys. But it's not those people. But, it's just interesting. It's because like in this country, we build these people up so high. Then eventually we get to a point where like, wait, wait a minute. Why did we build you up so high? Like, you're not this perfect person that we thought you were. And, they were pretending to be the entire time. And it's not like that we got duped. Some people do feel like they got duped. Like my mom, she watches the show. She's like, I can't believe it. She's mean. She didn't even hear about it. I told her about it. But like, here's the thing, like, to kind of touch on it and to kind of put a button on it, people really don't care about it other than the people that are on Twitter and the people like me and you who are really like, I don't even say this really affects our lives. It does to some degree, and it may threaten our lives. We're like, okay, like what can we get away with saying, and what can we not do? But like most people, like they really give a fuck. Like I have a friend who I was trying to have a conversation about this with, and he's not a comedian. He's happy, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, what's cancel culture? I'm like, have you not heard about it? He's like, he doesn't know who any of these people are, and I was like, cancel culture. Like he was like, okay, I'm going to look it up, and he pulled up Instagram and started typing in Instagram or cancel culture on Instagram. So this is how like removed and disconnected he is from it. And now, don't get me wrong, I only hang out with idiots, but it just goes to show like how it really doesn't even fucking matter. And it's just like another problem that we have in this world that gets in front of like real problems. Like why am I not famous?
You're right. Exactly. I don't know why you aren't either. That's why you're on this show. Yeah. You stick with me, kid. I'll make you a star. How about that?
This is the platform that I've been waiting for.
This is the new Tonight Show. I've been saying that for months. That this is the new Tonight Show.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, no, that's great. You did your 5 minutes. Maybe I'll invite you over to the desk. You got to keep a clean set, though. No messing around, okay?
Well, hey, I appreciate just, the offer.
Right. So going back to comedy in general, where do you see you're very good, and I know you told me not to say this, but you are good. You are good at marketing yourself. And what way do you see the game moving towards like just I need Instagram clicks as opposed to I need a good set? Does that make any sense?
I feel it does. I'm trying to think about it. I think that like you would have to like the Instagram followers are all good, but like like a lot of people talk about like you have to be actually good. Like what are people following? Mm-hmm. And I just want to put this out there. I have not made it in any sense of the word. But just the thing is, there's a lot of comedians don't know how to market themselves, even in like a social setting. I like it's just so crazy. Like I've always been like a pretty social kid, not overly social, not like I'm not like a total extrovert. I can be introverted at times, but I know how to walk up to somebody and have a conversation. I can walk up to like a man that I want to speak to about whatever. I can walk up to a girl that I'm interested in. That I want to buy a drink and talk to her about it and just say, hey, like, how are we doing? You know what I mean? Like I could do those things. And a lot of people in comedy can't, you get some of these people who are like, I just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I just feel weird. And it's like, I'm weird and I'm like quirky and I'm like quirky. I'm like so quirky. And it's like, so when you have those types of people and you hand them a phone, it's like, okay, promote yourself. They're like, I don't even know how to fucking do that. Not that I do, but I'm at least trying to make the effort because that can go a long way, but like I know how to walk up to somebody and have a conversation. So, but like with that being said, there's a lot of people that are very introverted in real life that are just really good at the internet, and it's really just kind of about experiencing it and discovering it. But I was enjoying doing stand up before someone fucked the bat and started coughing on everyone. So, I'd like for that to be back.
Hey, you're already on the road back, man. You're already doing your thing. Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, I'm trying. Hopefully these shows don't get canceled. I did a few shows at the Stress Factory, opening for a very funny person, and they were a blast. They were a really good time. Tim Dillon was a comedian, and we had a great time on the shows, the outdoor shows. Stress Factory. They spent like $100,000 allegedly on an outdoor tent. Wow! And the staff really crushed it. The owners crushed it. Vinny Brand owns that club, and it was just a really fucking good time. The audience was amazing. The audience was there to laugh, and I mean, it was crazy. Like it felt like it truly. Like I don't want to sound too sappy or get too serious, but it felt kind of like a dream, just going from 6 months of bullshit to being able to do it again and not really feeling weird. Like after 5 minutes, whatever. That was my first time doing stand up. Well, I should say, before and during the pandemic or whatever. Uh-huh. So I'd gone like 5-6 months without it, and it was kind of surprising at how quickly it came back. How the nerves kind of melted off.
Got it, man. That just must mean you got it, man.
Yeah.
But I did hear those shows were wild. I was seeing some other very funny people tweet on the internet about how wild those shows were and how like this material that was being brought forth to people was really good, man. So I need to somehow see that if you got a clip, man. I'd love to see your stuff from that.
Of course, man. I mean, I'm just trying to get funny enough to work at the Lincoln Project. Maybe they'll let me intern there or something.
Explain that to me, because I'm seeing that on Twitter and I'm ignorant on the Lincoln Project.
I mean, it's It's just, their Twitter bio is, "You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today." It
What does
says
that mean?
Abraham
What
Lincoln.
Chinese backwards riddle is that?
Yeah, I mean, Abraham Lincoln was married to a mentally challenged woman, so just we should say that. But which they deserve love too. But he, the Lincoln Project it's kind of interesting. I mean, I give these people props. It's like a whole project Twitter account to get Trump out of office. So,
Oh, wow, that's never been
we'll
done
see how
before.
that
I hope
goes.
this one works. Yeah, wow.
I know. Well, they have over 2 million followers. So.
Hey, 2 million followers definitely equates to a presidential victory or loss. I mean, we saw that in the last election cycle. Retweets definitely equate victory.
Well, it's actually Lena Dunham just converted her Twitter account to an activist page, so that's how they got the followers.
Working with electronics can be difficult, especially if you're an idiot like me. Today, I had a traumatic experience before I started recording with Dan. My cord broke from my microphone that connects into the USB port and my mic itself. And I went everywhere to find this place. I know I live in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, so things are difficult to find in general. But I didn't get the type of customer service that I would have if I hadn't gone to Really Cheap Geeks in Parkersburg, West Virginia. I went to 2 Walmarts, the mall, 2 GameStops, 2 Lowe's, Office Depot, everywhere from here to Kingdom Come. Nothing. No, they did not have the cord that I needed. I go into Really Cheap Geeks, a local shop, and they have it. Not only do they have it, they gave me a great deal, and they treated me with kindness and respect. And from now on, when I have any sort of electronic issue, I'm going to Really Cheap Geeks in Parkersburg, West Virginia. You can find them at 3330 Emerson Avenue, Parkersburg, West Virginia, 26181. The number for that is 304-422-GEEK. That's 304-422-4335. Geek. Real geeks, real cheap. They even fix Apple products. Really Cheap Geeks in Parkersburg, West Virginia. I'm done with the chains. And I'm only shopping local now, so thank you to the gentlemen at Really Cheap Geeks in Parkersburg, West Virginia. They fix it, okay? If you got electronic issues, they can do it. Do you think that we'll see another election in the sense that maybe a populist vote does not equate like an actual victory? Do you think that whole situation would go down again?
I think, dude, it's so fucking hard to predict. I mean, that's one reason that Trump is seemingly trying to get rid of the fucking post office, right? Like they're just plucking these mailboxes because they don't want mail-in voting. They don't want a paper trail. So, which who can blame them, really? It's just going to be really interesting to see if there's going to have to be like a count, like a recount, and it's going to be like a month where we don't know who our fucking president is. No.
Yeah, we're going to be in limbo for like a month.
How long it is. Dude, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be nuts. I mean, we're nearing the mid September, and I don't even think that CNN and Fox News are prepared for the horror show that's gonna come. And you know what? With that being said, it could be anticlimactic, right? Like we could get to November and it's just not Trump, and then nobody wants to fucking talk about anything serious for a long time, which I don't blame them. Yeah. I'm over the bullshit. As I've said, I have a career that I want to focus on. Mm-hmm. I want travel bans to be lifted so I can go to Europe and marry a French woman.
My family just went back to Europe. My family they had no issues.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, the media, how much of a goddamn lie is everything we see on the news? I mean, what is real and what's not? So we could just travel everywhere, but we're saying we can't? What's the deal with that?
So they're residents though of in Europe. So maybe that's a little bit different.
Oh, okay. That's big. They have dual citizenship.
What's that? Sorry.
They have dual citizenship.
No, they just have residency in Spain. So it's all
interesting.
Wild.
Yeah, that might help. That might count for something.
Yeah, I'm not an expert, but I think that has something to do with it. But I went over there.
Hey, who is?
That's true. I could probably just I am the new Tucker Carlson over here. That's me.
I don't know if you want that job.
Hey, I'm from West Virginia. That's kind of.
That's true. The demographics of these people listening, if it's, I don't know. Do they skew right? You think?
My listeners?
Yeah.
No, I think the thing is, it's like I'm so like I just make jokes about everybody, so I like to think that my audience is
That's
also
a great way to put it. I was testing you.
I passed. There we go. All right.
You passed.
Yeah, no, my audience is right down the middle. My audience is right down the middle, and I think they're well educated, and I think they're well informed, and they just like making fun of everybody. They realize that this is like an escape from reality. This is not real. It's a comedy podcast. It doesn't really matter,
dude. It's so important. It's so important to have shit like that because.
Go ahead.
Otherwise, we're lost. No, I mean, yeah, it was just
my voice. My voice is so much more important than anyone else's voice. I mean, my show is quintessential broadcasting. I am the modern era. I am the modern era Tom Brokaw. It is me. That is me.
Wow. Dude, you know what's crazy is there's no Tom Brokaw. Who is the Tom Brokaw like at 2020?
I watch Lester Holt almost every night. He does a good job.
Does he skew though? Is there like a non-skewed, apolitical or a bipartisan apolitical?
That's the problem. It's like I don't know. It's like
NBC skews left.
I know. Yep, I know.
CSNBC is skews left really hard.
I just he makes me feel good at the end of the episode. He makes me feel good. He's like, take care of yourselves, everyone. Have a good day. I like him.
And you know what? That's all we need to hear. If everyone could just fucking do that, wouldn't that be so simple? If like all these people that like people hate, like these villainized, people, whether it's anyone from I'm blanking because like some people think that like Ben Shapiro is like a villain.
Yeah,
and I'm not. I know I brought him up twice now. People probably think that I'm like a
Who's
huge.
the other guy? Who's the Crowder guy? The Crowder guy. Crowder.
Steven Crowder.
That's a guy. That's another guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like. It'd be nice if everyone, no matter what, whether it's fucking Tucker Carlson, Rachel Maddow, could just say, "Hey, have a good day, everyone."
Everyone.
I remember there was one time where I was toggling back and forth between Fox News and CNN, just to fucking see what was going on, like just to see.
Yeah.
And legitimately, CNN had run a story about. I mean, both of them were jokes, right?
Right.
So, like, not literally, like that wasn't the intention, but the way it came off, it was. So like, CNN had ran some story, something about weed, and there's like gas mask bongs that you can use.
Yeah.
I think they had one of the reporters like use those because their son probably sold it to them.
Right.
And then Fox News story of the day was a commentary on how ludicrous that was. So it's just like funny to like go back and forth. It's like both of you guys look like idiots,
right?
It's
just the two popular girls. It's the two popular girls in school yelling back and forth about who's hotter. Like it doesn't really matter,
dude. Hundo P. But this was maybe before Trump, or maybe this was early Trump when I was doing this. When I looked this up, so now it is a little bit more. Now it's interesting because Fox News even will come out and say like, yeah, Trump said some wild shit.
Yeah.
So like that's when you get to a point where like, okay, maybe not like the left is done with them, or I'm done with them because I'm just annoyed, but like maybe everyone's done with them. But I talked about it a little bit earlier about my dad, standing behind him and thinking that it's fake news and shit, that, the bad things he says, even though the Fox News has come out and independently verified some of the sources.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cult, it's like a Jim Jones type cult where
right.
like, if you were to tweet, gun down Antifa or, burn down a Taco Bell, it would be done.
They would do it. Yeah.
So they would absolutely do it. So we'll see, dude, I don't know. I don't really fucking know. I want to be away from all the madness whenever things do go down. I'm hoping that we have a nice, quiet, calm November. And then I could do the road like 1 or 2 more weekends and then go to Thanksgiving and then go to Christmas.
That sounds nice.
And just fucking relax, have some ice cream and be with my family who doesn't love each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe we get each other Christmas presents, but that's all I want. That's all I want.
That's
just go
the
back
American
to being my
dream.
biggest problem.
That's the American
dream.
Relationship
with my family.
Just
the American dream is just to fight with your family and not really pay attention to the president.
No, and the older I get, the more I realize how like wild my family was, and I don't really. There's nothing really like to go really into detail with. They're just like crazy people. Like in general, I think most families are crazy, but like few actually admit it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's really funny, because I had noticed the same thing. I spent a good amount of quarantine with my family, and it's like I'm looking at us, and I'm like, "What the fuck are we doing here?"
Yeah.
Like what is going on? Like the only times we're like happy or at least sedated is when we're like sitting together and watching fucking like Everybody Loves Raymond, which is just like 22 minutes of of an actual happy functional
Oh
family
my
on TV.
gosh, that's deep.
And then like we just then we pretend like that's us, and I'm like, look, this is not healthy, this is not happy. No one here makes an effort to understand each other, but nobody makes an effort to understand each other in this country anyways.
No.
Like to as a whole, I mean, obviously some people do. That's kind of one thing I really love about New York. Even though like we are divided a lot in this country, in New York, you know, you could fucking tell the bodega guy, hey, I'll can I pay for this tomorrow? And if they know you, they'll be like, yeah, sure. Like that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful sense of
Wow.
community, but that's more of a family than it is in my fucking house when we're like fighting over God knows what, you know?
There's common misconceptions that you, not to get too deep, no, there's common misconceptions that you can't choose your family, but you really can, and your family is who you like make it out to be almost. It's the people you associate with the most.
Wow. That's deep. Yeah, no, that's you're exactly right. I mean, I think that a lot of people are prisoners of their family's approval. And I'm not saying that I'm free from that, but it's tough, man. You want your family to love you, but I forget who said it. It was some philosopher saying you need to like kill off your parents before you can be happy. Yeah, I mean, not literally, but like, you know, mentally in your head, but probably, I mean, this was, you know, thousands of years ago, so probably he meant literally, but like the metaphor is there is like killing them off and, you know, metaphorically moving on in your life without them, but really it's just about like without their shadow of approval.
I mean, look at birds. Birds will just drop the babies out there and say, take off. That's it.
Dude, I was thinking about that. By the way, it was so funny. Your West Virginia accent came out in that.
It happens,
but,
bro.
no,
it happens sometimes.
It's great, dude.
I apologize.
Don't hide it. Lead into it. No, you apologize. Lean into it.
I just don't want to be typecast as like, all right, Frank's on the blue collar tour. I'm gonna be in. I'm be in New Smyrna Beach.
Don't. Yeah, well, don't talk like that. But you know, don't hide from your roots. You know, they're there. But yeah, it's interesting. I forget the point that I was gonna. Oh yeah, birds. I was actually thinking about the other day because I'm in the middle of the desert now, and like, you know, you see all these creatures and shit. And I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of animals, or there's a lot of birds that once they're born, they just go they say go do it. And you know what? I think a lot more people would be better off if that was the case.
Yeah.
You know, you do need some sort of infrastructure there. But then a big problem is, you know, comparing yourself to other people. And I was actually trying to write something about this about, you know, the romanticizing of, you know, the family unit in TV sitcoms.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. There's no end of, you know, the episode lesson that we all can come together on and sit around the fireplace and hug each other and all, you know, mommy's a liberal, daddy's a conservative, but doesn't matter. We love each other. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. The only way, and this is from my father's mouth, is to get by, is to take all those feelings and apprehensions you have and bury them deep inside you. That is the only way to go about life.
And never talk about them again. And never talk
about them again. That's why we need to go back to being distracted, like we were talking about earlier in the episode, is just find a way for us to be sedated. I mean, this country is at its best when it's sedated off fast food.
Yep.
And we need like a good TV show. You know, we need like
TV's
a really
kind of dead. We need TV. We need TV.
We need a Tiger King. The biggest mistake about this whole experience was not trying to find the next Tiger King after that. You know what I mean? Like, we need to be hammering out Tiger Kings for this country to be operational. I mean, really, truly, look at, you know, the 90s, early 2000s, before there was like Netflix and all that shit, YouTube. It was fucking Seinfeld, you know, late night TV, Saturday Night Live. A lot of these programs, everybody was Raymond, Friends. You know, these were things that were common denominators of American people. King of Queens. Now we're reaching a little bit, but no, I'm kidding. I grew up on that show, but yeah, no, like ways like those are as part of America as Taco Bell, McDonald's, Subway, all that shit. Ways for us to sedate ourselves. And that's when this country is at its best, is when we're not really looking too deep into things. And now we've had like 6 months to do that without any banger TV shows. There were no protests while Tiger King was going on.
It's a great point.
You know what I mean? There were no protests during that show.
And now,
So
I'm pissed off.
where's the next
I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off, Dan. Here's the deal. I'm pissed off because they're putting Carol Baskin on Dancing with the Stars.
On Dancing with the Stars.
Is that real?
This bitch killed her husband.
She's a murderer.
Yeah. She's a murderer, right?
And plus,
she's wild. But
she's got a cuck husband. I mean, look at that guy.
Major cuck husband. But then, of course, I have. I mean, that's what every woman wants right now. But no, I mean, yeah, they're putting on Dancing with the Stars. It's interesting, you know, like if she wasn't white, would she be on Dancing with the Stars? Would she be like more villainized? So there are like a lot of ways to look at that and say, look, there's a lot of valid points that are being made, but nobody's really talking about that. That's white privilege, if you do want to, you know, use that term. But it's just fucking wild. I mean, how more perfect is it that this woman she's good on camera. She's like, hey, maybe I killed my husband and maybe I didn't. I mean, look at our president. He's like, maybe I was on the island, maybe I wasn't. He was a great guy.
Who knows?
And you know, he's you know. He's our president. She's going to be on Dancing with the Stars. I mean, this is what our country and our networks who are not afraid. These networks who are not afraid to cancel someone at the drop of a pin.
No,
are willing to put someone who's like universally, at least digitally or online. The online communities accepted that she did kill her husband. It was a major part. They were like, you know what? Let's put her on Dancing with the Stars for the ratings. You know what? They took off Roseanne. Roseanne, if you left her on, I mean. And literally just let her say whatever the fuck you wanted to do, whether you could agree with her or not. Like, those ratings would go through the goddamn roof. Let her tweet as much as she wants. You know what I mean? Like, those ratings would be insane. So it's just really interesting. I'm annoyed with that too. But what are you going to do? I didn't watch the show beforehand, but it's just, this is a sign of the times.
Yeah, and I'm just mad that I got passed over again for Dancing with the Stars when I put nothing but time and effort into it.
I nominated you.
I mean, they have never seen me in the ballroom. I'm unbelievable.
No.
They've never seen it.
I know you are.
Oh, man, sorry. I'm watching the Celtics game right now. I got money on it. They just lost. I'm sorry.
The Celtics lost? So what's the series tied at? What is that, 3-3?
Yes, sir. It's 3-3. Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart. Man. Marcus Smart just missed a 3-pointer to tie it at the end, and I hate Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart is probably a guy that if you're a gambler like yourself, you probably don't like Marcus Smart because he's never a numbers guy. I don't know if there's ever been a line on Marcus Smart where it's like an over-under like 8 points.
Yeah.
You can never really betting the over is like playing Russian roulette. You know what I mean? Yep. It's like you don't know if he's going to care enough to shoot. It's interesting that they had him take that shot. I wasn't watching the game. I'm actually trying to focus on this podcast like a professional.
Okay.
But
this is a different level of comedian right here. You're at a different plateau.
I'm kidding. I'm on Twitter. I'm tweeting about you. And no, but it's just interesting. I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm glad that you're into it as well. I picked the Celtics to make it out of the East. I think that they will. I think they have the most firepower.
It's got to be Heat. That's got to be Heat. You're wrong.
Now that the Heat look pretty good. Someone compared them to the 2004 Pistons. Now, like, look, I'm still hesitant. I'm hesitant to get on any bandwagons. I hopped on the Trailblazers bandwagon real hard. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to say that I did bet on this, thank God, that they'd make it to the finals. I got a little gung-ho there.
Yep.
I forgot a few things. I forgot about a guy named LeBron James and a man named Carmelo Anthony who's never won anything in his life.
No, but he's praised. He's praised beyond belief.
He's praised beyond belief, which I have been a mellow, I guess you could say maybe a mellow hater throughout my entire life, but only because the mellow supporters are so, out of their minds.
He's the best Olympic player of all time. He's the best Olympic player.
I mean, dude, they're like, he's a great Olympian. I mean, he lost, look at the 2004 Olympics. I mean, it's just like the guy has never propelled his team to greatness. He had Allen Iverson, a J.R. Smith, who was a young, athletic, promising player, Kenyon Martin. That Nuggets team he had with AI was extremely talented, and he's supposed to be like it was supposed to be him and LeBron James kind of coming out of that draft was supposed to be like the two guys, which I never bought into anyway. So he had this amazing star-studded team with multiple Hall of Famers. Allen Iverson, who, by the way, even though he did have that run with the Sixers, never really been that much of a winner. If you look at the
I mean,
scope of
numbers
his
never
career,
lie. Numbers don't lie.
Numbers never lie, and the analytics, like the advanced analytics, do not favor him that much. But you look at that Nuggets team, and then so Allen Iverson he leaves, and then you bring in Chauncey Billups for Allen Iverson, and then that team goes to the Western Conference Finals. So Chauncey Billups should be in the Hall of Fame. I know he talked about it a little bit the other week. I think I talked about it on my podcast a little bit, or at least with a friend, about how Chauncey Billups should be in the Hall of Fame. He's a Finals MVP. He took that Nuggets team to a conference finals, something that Allen Iverson, or I'm not even going to say Melo did it, because it's Chauncey really was the leader of that team. But Melo, he also ruined the Knicks for years. I mean, you look at Carmelo Anthony, it's him and de Blasio who have fucked that city more than anybody else. And I mean, they had Amari Stoudemire, and then they ended up trading. And they were really good that year. And then they ended up trading Danilo Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, they had Raymond Felton on that team. A lot of these guys, Felton and Stoudemire, lost touches. Then you lose Gallinari, who's been a proven scorer, more efficient player. Who would you rather take now, Gallinari or Melo? Gallinari, hands down.
Yeah.
Wilson Chandler was a solid player throughout most of his career. So it's just I've never been a big Melo fan, never been a big Melo guy as a first option. It was nice to see him in that third role on the Blazers, hitting a few knockdown threes and being actually engaged in defense for once.
He is a sort of a matador on defense, if you will. And honestly,
yes.
I'm having a hard time. So me being from West Virginia, NBA, the closest NBA team is like 3.5 hours away in Cleveland. And I have a channel on my childhood TV. The Cavs were on TV every night. Okay. My favorite player was Anderson Varejao. But I don't really have...
That is insane.
I don't really have an NBA team. I don't really have a team.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
I don't have a team either, but... I grew up in Tampa, so we had the Magic. Even people from Orlando aren't that big Magic fans. I mean, there was no relationship with Tampa and Orlando that I felt that I needed to become a Magic fan, and I always kind of enjoyed being a free agent fan. Anyways, so LeBron's always been my guy. I've always followed players around.
Yeah.
And it helped me appreciate the entire league. I've always kind of wished that I had a favorite team. But I could have also, there's a con to that. It's like, what if you grew up in Washington, D.C., and now you're a fucking Wizards fan?
Right.
I mean, good luck. No one as an NBA fan could take you that seriously if you're a Washington Wizards fan. And I know that you're close to Virginia a little bit. You're west of it, I believe, as your state says.
Yep.
But yeah, it would just suck to be a Wizards fan.
Right. And I would just, I don't know, I know they get a bad rap. I know they get a horrible rap, and you probably have your own thoughts about them, but there's something about those diehard Knicks fans that just complain all day. There's something I like about them.
Of course.
I don't know what it is.
I like it. It's what's interesting is in the NBA, there's two fan bases that are more delusional than anybody else, and it's the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat. Now, the Miami Heat have actually had some success, but the Miami Heat, if you ask them in a year, and this is actually why they're good, by the way, is that they every single beginning of the season they think that their team's going to go to the finals, and the president builds the team that way. Pat Riley, the head coach, builds the team that way, and all their players. That is the culture of the team. But look, like I didn't think that the Heat were going to make it this far, but Miami Heat fans thought that the entire year. And I'm going to say this: I don't even think they're smart for thinking that, because the odds were so stacked against them. But it happened. The New York Knicks have that same delusion without any of the success. So the Knicks are obviously the most delusional, but it is those two fan bases in my mind that are they're the most optimistic.
The Knicks just have these delusions that oh well, we're gonna get Zion. Oh, okay, well that didn't work. Okay, we're gonna get a top free agent. Okay, well that didn't work, and it all just stems back to the owner. It's all the owner's fault.
100%.
100%.
They'll never be successful until he sells the team, or until they convince him to sell the team. No. I mean, people were cheering that he got coronavirus at the beginning of the year.
Doesn't he?
So that just shows you
ownership group. Don't they own the Cleveland Indians too, or did I dream that? I can Google that.
That I cannot speak on. But what I can tell you is that Google that, because that'd be interesting. I mean, the Madison Group owns a lot of buildings. I mean, they own like Radio City Music Hall. I think they own the Beacon Theater, and James Dolan is actually part of a band, like a blues band.
Yeah, he's in like some ska band. Yeah, it is the Dolans, by the way. They own the Indians.
Well, that is unfortunate. I know that they've had minor successes, but maybe that's why they lost to the Cubs in that one
That's my
series.
sport. That's my sport.
They were
That's me right there is baseball. That's me.
You're a big baseball guy?
Yeah, I was a baseball scout last year. I was a pro scout.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious. That's why I couldn't do as much comedy as I wanted to. Doing scouting stuff.
Dude, what a cool fucking job.
Yeah, it was cool. It was pretty all right. A lot of long hours, all nights and weekends, and a lot of
What team?
No, I worked for an agency, so 25 big league teams bought my data, and ESPN, CBS, who else? Some big colleges. We do some college games. So I do a lot of minor league scouting and college scouting, and then sometimes I would like do pitch chart for MLB games and like just StatCast type stuff, MLB games, and so it was a lot of long nights watching single A ball in Utah. Some like 18-year-old Dominican kid throwing 110 miles an hour is a lot of that.
Wow, dude, that's so cool, man. What a cool job. So are you doing that again this year or what?
No. Well, so here was my master plan. Here was going to be my ticket to the wonderful metropolis of New York City. I had an interview with the New York Mets. I was going to work with the New York Mets. It was the only team I applied to. It was the only team I applied to. I was like, all right, this is it. I'm gonna be in the city, be able to do my. Why
not the Yankees?
I don't like the Yankees.
Yeah, okay.
I just like National League Baseball better. That's just me.
Gotcha. I'm indifferent. I was just curious.
Okay, my bad. And so yeah, I had the interview with the New York Mets. It went well, and it's second interview time, and then Corona hit, and it's just like, oh well, that's gone.
Damn.
That's gone. But
damn, dude, I'm fucking sorry about that, man.
Don't apologize because it has it.
You'll get back.
No, it has.
The Mets, they suck this year?
What's that?
Did the Mets suck this year?
Yeah, they're horrible. But what it's done is it's lifted the veil in my life that it's like you can't have a career in sports and also a career in entertainment. It's literally impossible because both are entertainment things. So you need to pick the one instead of trying to, balance both. So it's been a good thing. And
let me ask you this: How much would the job have paid you?
No, not a lot. Not a lot. It wouldn't have paid a lot.
Oh, okay.
I still would have had like three roommates and a scrub apartment paid like, I don't know, out the nose. Yeah.
I was gonna say if they're gonna like throw six figures at you from the jump, then I was like, you should have done that.
Yeah, Frank. They're actually gonna you're gonna be an assistant to the GM. Oh, okay. Yeah, never mind. I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it seems like they could get all the help, or could use all the help they can get.
Oh yeah, they.
I went to a few Yankees games.
So are you a Yankees guy?
I went to a few Yankees games.
Are you a Yankees guy?
No. I used to be a big baseball guy when I was a kid, and then I just ended up picking like basketball is going to be my diehard sport, the NBA specifically. But I went to a few Yankees games, man. I went to a few. I really lucked out on my time in New York, so like I'm not there right now. I'm in the desert in Palm Springs, California. I'm not sure when this episode comes out. It might be in LA by the time it does.
Probably tomorrow.
But I'm on the West Coast regardless. Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I'll still be in Palm Springs. But, yeah, I'm on the West Coast for now. But I was living in New York before the pandemic. And I got really fucking lucky with some of the going to the games and stuff. Like, I went to a few Knicks games. And, they were friends who had extra tickets and, like, good spots. And then I got box seats to a Rangers game at MSG through a job I had as a temp. And then I went to two Yankees games, both in suites. One was like a friend, worked at some company. And then the second Yankees game I went, because the first one was like a regular like box suite, like nothing super fancy, but like a little bit fancy where there was like a spread, but it was outdoors, right?
Yeah.
The second suite I went to was the players suite, like the old play. So like I was in a box suite with Mariano Rivera, fucking all these guys, and I forget. And dude, this is like how like not much of a sports fan I am, or like baseball fan I am. Is like I forget the what is the guy's name? Tino something.
Tino Martinez,
who played for the Yankees. He's all. Yeah, he his daughter got me and my friend free tickets. So we got in through her.
What the heck?
And there was a bunch of like, yeah, so he was there. All these people were there because it was like they do like the old timers game.
Yep.
And then they have like, they do that before like the actual game, regular season game. And it was insane. Like there was like lobster rolls, all this shit. And me and my buddy, we were like, okay, like we're gonna go. We're gonna take an edible beforehand. We're gonna go. We're gonna get fucked up because it's free liquor, all that stuff. And we get in there, and like we like have to like meet someone outside that shows us in Yankee Stadium, all this stuff. And as soon as the guy gets to us, we immediately realize like, oh, we're like underdressed because the guy's like sizing us up. My friend is wearing like camo shorts and like a black t-shirt and like Chuck Taylor shoes with no socks. I'm wearing like a beat up pair of khaki pants with like dirty ass shoes and like an old, bar t-shirt from Tallahassee, Florida. And we look like two guys who they picked like from off the street to get free tickets. It literally looked like, like fucking the gang from It's Always Sunny.
You guys won a radio contest, and that's how you got those tickets.
We looked like, as soon as we went in there, like people were like, "Who the fuck let these lower class individuals?" Because people were dressed like they were going to a club.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean?
It's a ball game.
Yeah, because it's a ball. Yeah, dude, exactly. But I mean, these are like children of multi millionaires. All these like they did this thing. During the seventh inning stretch, where they had like current players on the Yankees list off like they named their favorite player growing up, and like all the answers were like people that were in the same suite as us. So all those kids were there, and they're just watching like their dads get like glorified and praised, and we're there like in the corner, high and drinking and like eating like lobster roll and pizza. Literally, we got in there, and we were like, the edible started kicking, and we were like, okay, like we need to eat immediately. We didn't talk to anybody, even though we knew some of the people there. We like went into a corner, and we just ate like 4 plates of pizza and hot dogs. And like my friend comes over, they're like, "Are you gonna like join us?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, just like give us a second. We need to get this out of our system before we like try to reintegrate back with like the posh people."
You just got a lobster.
It was a great experience. It was a lot of fun.
You're trying to talk to Mariano Rivera.
Yeah,
what was it like playing with Jeter? What was it like?
I'm like guzzling. I'm like guzzling down sushi. My eyes are red, and the guy's like, "Oh, nice to meet you." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm friends with your son." And I don't even know who he is. But it was a blast.
Yeah, man, Dan Carney lucking into luxury. That's the story right there. That's what I've gathered. Lucking into luxury,
dude. I mean, I'm not even kidding. That's one of the best ways to put my life in the last few years. I've lucked into a lot of good things.
I mean, hey, don't feel sorry about it, man. You earned it. They were meant for a reason.
I'm not. I'm lucky. Yeah, this is the better life.
Yeah, and look at that. It's all culminating on the new Tonight Show with me, Franklin Miller.
I mean, dude, this is the climax of my career. After this, I need to kill myself.
Yeah, I highly recommend doing that. Anyways, is there everyone make sure to follow Dan? Where can they follow you at, my friend? Here, go ahead. You just take the plug. Go ahead.
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter, you could follow me at Dan Carney, and I post like sketches and shit. I have a podcast too, non-competing, nowhere near as good. I just started it actually. It's called The Dan Show, but you could find that. Really, just kind of like follow me on those social media platforms, and you'll see all the shit that I'm doing. Figure out for yourself how much you want to engage.
He's a good follow, guys.
But I'm happy to be here, and I'm very happy to be on. Very happy to be on your show. I'm really glad that we were able to do this and make it work despite being in 2 separate parts of the country and relying on the internet like everything else.
Oh man, we've been playing phone tag for a week. It's a whole rigmarole, but I'm really happy I got to talk to you, man. You're a really good dude. You're a really good comic, and hope to see more of you in the future, my friend.
Thank you, man. Of course, I hope so too. I hope to see more of you. Maybe we'll meet in person, and we'll hang out in West Virginia. As after we both fail in this business, and we'll start as coal miners together.
I know what we can do. We can sell those Trump flags. I'm seeing a ton of Trump flags in my hometown. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm seeing a ton of Trump flags in my hometown where they have his face photoshopped on Rambo's body shooting a gun. I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh, Rambo's body, dude! I've seen those too. Because like I said, I'm from Florida, and like there's some towns near me where there's a ton of those set up. Look, there's money to be made.
Yeah,
you could shit on the guy as much as you want. He's created job opportunities, and that is selling his face photoshopped on Rambo's body on an American flag. So, maybe we'll have to get involved in that in some capacity.
We'll do it whenever I inevitably bomb out. We'll definitely do it. But thank you for being on here today, Dan. You can follow me at Franco's World _. I will see you when I see you, and keep taking care of yourselves. That's what I was supposed to say. And I hope you have a great day. See you.